afterwards. The federal government's going to take care of it. They're going to take care of the people that paid them to get there. So this is where it all gets fuzzy. And the reason I bring all this up about federalism is I'm about to say something that a lot of people have a hard time with. And that is Medicare and Medicaid is social medicine. And when you allow socialism, you open the door for socialism. And we have to stop it. And that is a really hard message. A lot of us are on Medicare. My grandma's on Medicare. My great-grandmother passed away 2 months ago. She was on Medicare for 35 years. I'm not saying that we leave everyone high and dry. America has never backed down from an obligation to any citizen in the world ever, and we're not going to do it to our own. I simply say we have to really aggressively look at ending it. For people like me, say, you know what, you're 30 years old and younger, you're never going to get it. It's never going to be there, so stop paying into it and realize it's not going to happen for you. And allow this whole generation to move on. You don't get a pile of bills. And when my wife and I first got married, we were really stupid. And we had a pile of bills like this from our weddings. We had to go on a honeymoon. We had to buy a new car. And we said, we can't afford any of this. You know what the first thing we did? Is we stopped making future obligations. We said, we're not going to buy any more stuff until we pay for the stuff we already bought. Well, our government keeps expanding entitlements, and they can't afford the ones they got. That's not how you pay back bills. You have to stop. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, we had to stop. I said, I only make so much money. You only make so much money. And we got a pile of bills this high. The first thing we said, we looked at it logically and said, okay, we're going to stop spending. We're going to eat bologna sandwiches for the next 3 or 4 months until we can get ourselves back on track, because this is just not going to work. And that's what we did. We had a kid on the way. We got married and got pregnant like that. So I have a 7-year-old, and I'm about to have my 8th wedding anniversary. So, you're talking about boom. The next thing you know, she was pregnant. We had credit card bills like this because we weren't planning on getting pregnant. We had plenty of time to pay all this stuff off. We were having a good time. I guess we had a bunch of a good time. But we have to start realizing that these programs have to stop. And we have to start talking about them in places like this. You can't go into the general public and say, we want to end Medicare. Because then it's over. No one wants to talk to you. But if you start talking about the fact that we, as a conservative movement, have to start educating our people, if you allow elements of socialism into our state, it's just going to... No? Oh, okay. I can end pretty quick. You just start creeping in and creeping in and creeping in more stuff. We have to be the generation to recover and to take back our country. We just have to. We don't want another William Travis. We don't want our grandkids to be sitting in that Alamo and say, you know what, I would rather die than live in this country. It's bankrupt, our dollar ain't worth anything, we're being infiltrated by Mexico and Canada, and our systems are completely decapitated. No one wants that. And the only way to get it back is through financial independence. Right now, we spend $33 billion on Medicaid in the state of Texas and $25 billion on schools. And this health care bill is going to double the Medicaid burden. And Texas is done bankrupt. We're already sitting at $13 billion under budget. How are we supposed to put in $25, $30 billion into the Medicare system? The Medicaid system. So, I have developed a system of healthcare charities. It's going to be passed. It's going to put a bunch of charities under one umbrella. So I can go to my neighbor and I can give them $200 or $300 to buy health insurance, and that's a tax-deductible write-off because I'm giving it to a nonprofit organization. So there are things that can be done with healthcare charities. They can start phasing. We don't have to say, we want to end Medicaid. We just start the charities, because guess what? The doctors will come off Medicaid. They can't afford to be on there anyway. They're not making any money. So basically, personal responsibility, bringing God back to this country would be a really good start. But personal responsibility is where it has to end. People have to pay their medical bills. You can't go into a doctor and get a bill, walk out and file bankruptcy. That doctor took no responsibility for those actions. It's not a loan. A loan, they look at your credit and decide, should I give you money or should I not? So if you go bankrupt, it's the bank's fault. You walk into a doctor's office, they're not only obligated morally, they're obligated through laws that they have to treat you. So we have to get a system that's fair. Allow people to pay back their medical bills with no interest. and allow the doctors to get their money, and allow the state to step in when people have assets and refuse to pay. You know how many people that make hundreds, thousands of dollars a year that refuse to buy medical insurance and just file bankruptcy with a $10,000 bill even though they have $200,000 in assets? And then we have to pay for it because we're being responsible and they're not. We have to force responsibility back in. You don't force people to buy insurance, you force people to be responsible for their actions. You read the Texas Constitution, it says responsibility is the necessary part of freedom. And that's what the United States Constitution is, what the Bible tells us, what everything says. Responsibility, personal responsibility is the backbone of freedom. So, I just say that we need to be that generation that rises to the challenge to shrink the government, to restore more freedom to our future generations, to my 3 boys that are growing up. And if it's not us, then we are just going to pass this burden on to the shoulders of our young and tell them that our complacency is a reason for their new plight. So that's all I have to say, and if anyone has any questions about healthcare, I can answer them, but you know, we just have to step up to the plate as a generation and realize that we can't pay these bills, and they have to stop somehow, some way. So I thank you all very much for listening to me ramble, and y'all have a great day, and God bless you.
Lou Donna had the forethought to print out a couple of lists up here that I'd like you to pick up a copy of it and look it over. One's a list of 11 Democrats who voted for the health care plan and their Republican opponents. I urge you to contact your family and friends in those districts and encourage them to vote for the Republican candidate. There's also a paper to pick up, the list of members of our U.S. Congress. They're self-declared socialists, and 2 of them are Republicans. Y'all need to get that.
No, they're not Republicans.
Texans.
What do you mean? Oh, they're 2 Texans, yeah,
They're
2 of them
Texans,
Texans.
they're not Republicans.
Oh, well, good, that had me
Sheila
fooled.
Jackson Lee and Eddie Bernice Johnson.
Oh, big surprise there.
2 ladies, yeah. Anyway, they're here. Thank you, Lou Donna, for bringing those, and thank you, John, for being with us. Thank y'all.
I have 3 quick things. I'd like for those who have done any volunteer hours to please turn them in to Ken Ligon as soon as possible. And the meeting of all the delegates and alternates going to the state convention will be at Dawson Realty, May 10th at 6 p.m. Now, I would like to ask Gina Wynn if she would visit or tell us how the tea party went.
If y'all weren't there, y'all missed a great speaker, 2 great speakers. And I have to say, those people from Wichita Falls are about the nicest radicals I've ever met. They were so nice and so warm and helpful. And we didn't get a very good turnout. I think we probably had about 150 people, roughly, when you say, John Schwartz. But I think we raised enough money to cover our advertising, because I had to do that twice because we got rained out the first time. And I think sometimes when you have to reschedule like that, it kind of takes the momentum out of it. But y'all missed a great speaker if y'all didn't come, and I don't know what else to say. Do you have anything to add?
Oh, they were really good.
Yeah.
I was impressed. As a matter of fact, I met one
Bob
of
and
them
Betty
before. I
were
didn't
there,
realize
and,
it.
but anyway, they meet every Thursday at 7 at the Howard Johnson's, and they're a very active group and very dedicated. And also, from the rally back there, I've got the petition that I have to repeal and replace the bill. I'm not sure who I'm going to send it to. I know Michelle Bachmann has got a petition drive going, and so does former Governor Pataki. So I'm not real sure where that's going to go, but if y'all would like to sign that petition. Also, I've got a thank you letter to Greg Abbott, showing our support to him for filing lawsuit against the federal government on this health care issue. So, thank you all.